Hello, we go live to downtown Paris, where the new alliance of left-wing parties here in France ahead of legislative elections later this month, the Popular Front, is unveiling its manifesto. Let's listen in.
Ready to meet our historical responsibilities. And now, I'd like to give the floor to the officials responsible for the major political movements in this union. After these various speeches, I would like to state that there will be an official photograph in the gardens of the House of Chemistry. However, there won't be questions from the room because we don't have time for that. But right after we take the photograph, you will be able to bring your mics and ask your questions. Let me give over to Manuel Bompard for La France Insoumise.
Mesdames, Messieurs, bienvenue.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I think we all share the huge hope that this decision has created in the country and the high level of responsibility that we feel in an extraordinary political situation that is heavy, pregnant with dangers, with the threat of seeing the far right coming to power with its racist and antisocial project. This situation forces us, and we're deeply aware of that, to do something. And this is why this new Popular Front is not just the union of political formations, but a novel type of alliance that brings together many political movements as well as associations, collectives, supported by people from the trade union, the culture and arts world, intellectuals, as we have seen in the media this week. As you know, yesterday night, we signed an agreement with single nominations for the first round of the elections, as well as a covenant or pact containing around 150 measures that will have to be implemented. They are our platform, our disruptive platform for the first 100 days, first 150 days, etc. It is disruptive. It is a total break from Macron's policies in order to meet the people's immediate needs and take the ecological turn that we need to take. As soon as we get to power, we will block prices on essential food products and energy in order to instantly give back purchasing power to the French people. We also act immediately in order to restore the path to peace for France on the international stage by supporting Ukraine in the war of aggression waged by Vladimir Putin and by finding ways to get an immediate ceasefire in the face of the ongoing massacre in Gaza. Those are two of our main priorities, and they're part of the 150 measures that we're going to be defending in this electoral campaign. We'll do that with a united front and supported by great sense of hope in the country that we're seeing all around in France, and will be expressed this Saturday with these demonstrations being called by the Intersyndical and by the French youth. Ladies and gentlemen, we can change everything. The French people want us to decide to do that. This is why we invite the leaders and activists from all organizations, and particularly those that share those objectives, so that they participate in this campaign, so that on the 30th of June and 7th of July, we open a new chapter in French history. Thank you. Fine. Let me now give over to Marine Tondelier for the Ecologist Party.
Nous sommes prêts.
We are ready. And I feel emotion in saying that, looking at you crossing, the eyes of all those present in the room, whether you're journalists or not. You know that we are ready. We're going to do something novel and great for our country. We are, and we will be able to do something about this institutional, political, social, economic crisis that we've seen in the past few years, but which has taken a deeply disturbing turn this week, as you know. We will campaign with the same determination that we felt over the past 4 days. We have had 4 days of discussions. We decided to work together. We decided on a disruptive program. We decided on the best possible nominations on all constituencies in this country so to win maximum number of parliamentarians so that we can exert, so that we can run the country effectively. We will campaign with great determination, and then we will govern this country. We will govern this country in order to change people's lives and really change it. The far right is close to coming to power. Emmanuel Macron, as president, has a large share of responsibility, and we're going to take our responsibility. I come from Environmentalist. I'm an elected official from Environmentalist, and so for many years been living in this town that has been governed by the Front National. I know their methods, their ideas, all too well, in fact, and I've learned a lot in Environmentalist. And I'll give you 3 little pieces of advice. First of all, never look down, never look down, never bow your head, and never feel despondent. That's why over the past 4 days we haven't had much sleep. That's why you can tell we look a little bit tired. We're very happy, but we are a little tired. And the objective is very easy. Emmanuel Macron will not have a majority. It's a fact. He made a wager and he's already lost it. So it's either the far right or us. Very simply put. And it's got to be us. And it's going to be us. It's going to be us because, I've seen it over the past 4 years. I can tell that we're getting there. And I'm saying that at the head of the Ecologists in my movement, but I'm sure it's also true of your movement. Our activists are very proud of what we're doing. They wanted this from us. They wanted to believe in it. Now they're seeing it and they're waiting for the rest to happen. This is very moving because we're writing history. We're giving the best of ourselves individually and together, collectively. Now, we've been asked to choose 2 measures. And I wanted to mention one that is going to be very important to everyone, repealing the pensions reform, which we will do immediately after our victory on the 7th of July. I would like to say that to all of those who looked at this debate, who took part in this debate and discussion and fight. We had said that we would never give up the 5, didn't we? And there we are. So, they thought they'd won, but we're getting to power and we will repeal this unjust pensions reform. There are many Emmanuel Macron reforms that we would need to repeal, by the way. And that's one thing we'll do, but we're also thinking of measures that are very concrete, that will help people in their daily lives. And there's one such measure that we talked about at length, which is making sure that school is really free. I'm sure there are many parents and grandparents and people with nieces and nephews in this room who know that children are our future and the most precious thing in our society, and we owe them this free school, really free. The cafeteria, everything, transport to school, etc. And so in the back-to-school period 2024, back-to-school period, we promise that it will be implemented. What we have done is that we've rekindled the flame, not the flame of the Rassemblement National, which we're going to smother, but we have rekindled the flame of hope that people on the left and ecologists were entitled to. And now we need to revive and to grow this flame. We will do it. We will be a united front, a popular front. And the popular front is not just political parties. It is the political parties, but it's associations, trade unions, civil society, everyone here. And it should be something that is that goes well beyond us. And this is what is going to help us live better and longer. Thank you. All right, thank you. Let me give over to Olivier Faure for the Socialist Party. Ladies and gentlemen, it is emotional for me to stand here before you, just as it was emotional for all those, and is emotional for all those who together founded this new Popular Front. Emmanuel Macron, after his defeat in the elections, decided on a very risky move at a time when the Rassemblement National is at its highest level in the post, which would mean that for the first time since Vichy, the far right would hold power in this country. Over the past days, we have seen people in France being afraid for their safety and security. I'm not saying they're going to open concentration camps, no, but they're looking at what is happening with Orban and Meloni's Italy. They're seeing minimum wage being cancelled, or measures being cancelled. They see the world of culture being hurt. They feel all this, and they want us to protect them from all this. Now, the only ones who can protect us are the left and the ecologists, because the centre-right has just collapsed, with some of them going to collaborate with Rassemblement National, and while others have led to the situation where we are with Rassemblement National. And so the solution, that's us with this new Popular Front. But it won't be enough. We need to make sure that all of society is involved. And that means making sure that we do something that the President of the Republic has refused to do over the past 7 years. Never despise workers and their representatives, making sure that after those technocratic governments, we can make sure that the representatives of the workers can actually enter government, making sure that the movement that we're creating shall be a new way of looking at politics. And an answer to all of the movements that we've seen over the past years, the Gilets jaunes, all those who combated the pensions reform. To all of those, we're saying we're going to stand by you and build our new France together. And I've been asked to talk about 2 measures. So here are my 2 measures. The first one is that even though the government had been told that the social violence that they have promoted could not continue, could not possibly continue, decided to do what it did and made the decision of carrying out a further reform of the unemployment benefits. One of the first measures that we will take as a result will be to repeal these unemployment benefits reforms to protect everyone, especially the young people who will be the future victims of this. The second measure is about social justice, because justice is really what brings us all together on this podium. And so we will make sure that we finance all of these very ambitious platform by taking the money from the pockets of those who have the means to give it. Recently, President Macron talked about civic rearming. Well, we're calling for the same thing, civic rearming, making sure that all of those who've always profited from all the crises to help the country, help public services, the ecological transition, and those who have less. That's what we will demand from them by taxing windfall profits, by making sure that the wealth tax is reestablished and making sure that the flat tax is abolished and the exit tax reestablished. Now, on behalf of the Socialists, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we're very proud to be standing with all of the left and the Ecologists. We've often heard people say that we could not possibly reconcile our ideas, and we are now proving that when the essential is at stake, we're always there. We're always there. Thank you. Let me give the floor to Fabien Roussel for the Communist Party.
Oui, c'est un jour historique.
Yes, this is a historic day. And this is the oath that we're taking before all of the French people. This is a covenant that we are signing with everyone, with the whole country. Because the whole country, as we know, is looking at us today, here in continental France as well as in overseas territories. Our citizens want us, need us, to be responsible in the face of the situation, of the grave crisis we're living. And so here, we and I'm taking this oath to remain united so as to change life, to meet this huge expectation for change that we have seen from our citizens, for more justice, more respect, more fraternity. And let me welcome the spirit of responsibility of each and every one of us present here, of each and every political organization, Socialist, Ecologist, Communist, Insoumise, la France Insoumise. And beyond the platform, we have all made steps to converge towards one another, and we have succeeded in putting together a real program for France that will protect you, first and foremost, that will make it possible to build a more cohesive society, whether it's in the countryside or in the large cities of this country. The first measures that we want to implement are measures that will bolster the purchasing power of French people. It's the covenant on purchasing power that took us no time to agree on, because there's no ambiguity on this. We will bring the minimum wage to 1,600 euros net and 2,000 gross, which is another important figure. We will raise the index point of civil servants by 10 points. We will raise the minimum pensions to fight against the injustice that senior citizens in this country are experiencing. We will block the prices of essential products and the prices of gas and electricity. This covenant is also one for a secular and social republic. Everything has been done in the past few years to pit our citizens against one another. And what we want is concord, peace, a secular and social republic where the state is guaranteeing equality, justice, There's no justice without equality, no equality without justice. Yes, the fight against racism and anti-Semitism will also be at the heart of our project. Anti-Semitism that we are seeing a dangerous rise of in this country, where it has such a peculiar history. We don't want to be afraid for the future. We no longer want that, and we want to replace that fear by hope. And for that, we need courage and a strong platform with strong ideas that is a clean break from Emmanuel Macron's policies that hurt us so badly. And we need everyone to be mobilized. There won't be any large-scale transformation without each and everyone being involved and participating. On the 30th of June and then on July 7, each vote will count to make the difference, to make sure that France wins out, that a republic wins out, that social progress, social justice, peace, and human fraternity win out. Thank you very much, and we count on you. I have three more speakers. Let's hear from Aurore Lalu for Place Publique. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege to speak right after you did. We did it because we had to do it. I'm an economist, and I've always fought against the idea that there was no alternative. But in this case, there's no alternative, or the only alternative. I was going to say the 9th of June because of the EU elections, but you know what the date is. The only alternative is us. You can't vote for the Rassemblement National. I'd like to thank all of the negotiators, because, yes, it's true. Originally, the platforms were quite far from one another in some cases. I'm thinking of Maurice Vallot, who's not here today, who was one of the architects of this platform. Hollande, the negotiators of the Communist Party, thinking of Yannick Jadot. We all worked together to ensure that we would have extremely clear... What did I say? No, I meant the communist and Yannick Jadot. It's already the Popular Front. I've merged movements. Did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So we came in with very clear lines, which were the question of Ukraine or the issue of how to characterize the terrorist massacres committed by Hamas. Also, we had very clear lines in terms of the question raised by Fabien on the issue of anti-Semitism. And I think we all made major steps, incredible steps in record time. Usually, I mean, I always talk about tax issues, and I haven't had time to prepare my speech, and Olivier Faure stole the part that I wanted to say about taxes. It's so typical of socialists. But however that may be, I think we can be proud of the good work that we've done. These have been very long days, but at the same time, they've been very instructive days. And I remember some conversations, for example, with Manuel Bompard just yesterday, yesterday night. And really, there's no alternative. And against the Front National, it's us, and us. It's just us. Thank you. Marine Tondelier unfortunately couldn't stay, and she apologizes about that. But we have two more speakers, and I'd like to add this: the Popular Front is not just the forces here; it's all the forces in this country that are, resisting. Many of us come from activism, as I do, and many others here, and so the new Popular Front is also made up of associations, trade unions, people working in the suburbs or in the world of culture. For us, it's very important for this new Popular Front to be as broad as this. In fact, many of these elected officials and many of these militants and activists, trade unions, associations have said that they would actually get involved in this campaign. And so Abdel Abdouazgour is someone I'd like to welcome, of the Alstom factory in Seine-Saint-Denis, a factory that has just been closed up. That's just been closed up by Stellantis a few days ago. Thank you, Abdel. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very moved to be taking the floor in front of you today. I'd like to thank the Popular Front for giving me this platform. I wanted to tell you about my factory and about the automotive sector. And the fact that 400 people have been laid off brutally with a system that makes us poor, makes us fragile. But I do understand that the challenge is much broader. We're writing history. On the day that the dissolution was announced, just like you, I felt pangs of fear. But I think what you did was right. Your response was the right one. You reacted very promptly by creating this Popular Front. And I want to say on behalf of the industrial sector that we support you and we want to stand by your side benevolently as advisors, as a token of this newly found unity. But be careful, this is a huge task. The country is deeply hurt. There's much to do in terms of social justice, helping workers, repealing the laws that hurt workers, and making France once more into what it is famous for being one, the country of freedom, liberty, and equality. So we count on you. Thank you. Abdel Abdouazgour was a CGT unionized worker of Emma France. And now let me give over to an ecologist, Sir Julliard, the director of Greenpeace. Good afternoon, everyone. A little context by my presence here. France is one of the countries that warms up at the most rapid rate. We're seeing it with the heat waves and the deadly floods that we're seeing year after year. Experts are unanimous. We're not doing enough in France or elsewhere to reduce GHG gases emissions. Our plans are not ambitious enough. For us, having Bardella as a prime minister is just the worst possible scenario. It's the worst for fighting climate change and for fighting for biodiversity. It is the promise that our oceans will be impoverished, that pollution will go up. Clearly, the Rassemblement National are almost climate skeptic. They do everything to fight the ecological progress for our countries in Europe and elsewhere. They're just fighting every law that could make things better, for example, pushing hybrid and electric vehicles. The Rassemblement National is doing the exact opposite. Through its values, through its vision of the world, the Rassemblement National is a threat for all associations like Greenpeace and others that are whistleblowers. And so our freedom as whistleblowers and as an association would be threatened. There would be repression, clearly, in case the far right came to power. We've also worked with or against Emmanuel Macron for the past 7 years. We, in fact, made sure that he was convicted, condemned for his lack of action on ecology and fighting climate change. And clearly, when we looked at the platform of the new Popular Front, we realized that there was a whole slew of ambitious reforms that were being proposed that would go in the right direction. I'm not a politician. I work in an association that fights to change public policy. And my presence here, of course, is to show support, but it's not a blank check in that I think many associations share this point of view today. We will be there, but once you've been elected, because you will be elected, we will also be there to hold you accountable and make sure that all the announcements that we're seeing as part of your platform are actually being implemented. That's essential. It's one of our roads, and I think many associations that could have or would have wanted to be here today think the same. Together, we need to build an equitable, desirable, sustainable future for everyone. The opposite of the kind of world where people isolate from one another. Greenpeace has been very active in biodiversity and on all these fronts. We're seeing that reflected in your program, and so we'll be standing by you in the next few weeks.